This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. It's a freaking Sunday. Battle Opossum here for the opening of the show. Wow. I call him just in time Jesse Lundis. He's always got impeccable timing. Because I just woke up, so I'm not high enough for this shit. I did see, as we were counting down, that you tried to call me like an hour ago. And yeah, I was asleep. I've been asleep. I'm a little startled, a little scared right now. I don't even really know what's going on. Good evening, good evening. Luckily for me, I'd kind of already done the show. I put this shit together already. I knew what we were going to be talking about. A lot of Trump tonight, Warlord. If you wanted a Trump-centric show, we got some Trump for you. Apparently, he had some comments about Vladimir Putin that made him sound a little unhinged. My response would be, when doesn't Trump sound unhinged? Some of his fans were locked out of his speech that he gave to TPUSA over the weekend. Newt Gingrich says a second Trump first term would be astonishing. To which I respond, yes, Newt, I would be astonished. Maria Bartiromo got a little confrontational with Trump in a interview she did with him. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is weird, given RFK's penchant for antisemitism. I've got a wild piece of video. Representative on the House floor, I believe this happened on Friday, Representative Eli Crane. Wasn't that the Scarecrow's name? Dr. Eli Crane? Am I off on that? Battle Opossum. It's something Crane, I know that. Representative Eli Crane, who sounds like a Batman villain, refers to black Americans as colored people. Colored people. 2023. Tom Cotton was apparently Maria Bartiromo decided to do some journalism this week. She's sobered up long enough to ask some hard questions of both Donald Trump and Senator Tom Cotton. Amazingly enough. Do you guys like Joe Exotic? You guys like O.J. Simpson? Amen. Amen. Flash. Clinically. PP Girl. DJ Dub D. Listen. If you want to get some takes on trans people from some of the worst men in the world, tonight's the show for you. O.J. Simpson weighing in on the trans athlete debate. I have no clue what I wrote. Pearl Mania. Oh, Pearl Mania. Yeah, I guess Ron Pearl Mania is running wild on you. Rob Perlman making some threats to some Disney execs. I believe it, or just studio execs in general. I'm sorry. Oh, fucking, I was the Disney part coming from the haunted house. There's the haunted house, haunted mansion. God damn it. See, I'm still asleep. Disney's Haunted Mansion premiere. The actors walked out in solidarity. Writers and SAG-AFTRA strike going on. Barbie's too woke, guys. a Christian movie site does not recommend the new Barbie movie because Barbie too woke. All that and more tonight here on the Troll Patrol Live. What's up? What's up, freakers? Yes, there's an opinion we desperately need to hear. Oh, and Joe Exotic. Like, if there's two men that, whose opinions we need on the topic of trans people and their civil rights, it's Joe Exotic and OJ fucking Simpson. Here's your meme of the day. Somebody come get him. He's planning a 9/11. I'm not high enough for this shit. I broke out the new shit. God, have I even been on stream since I went to the weed store? I got frosted burgers. Frosted burgers is what we're smoking. The other one I don't know. I can't read. Anybody can tell me what that says. I have no idea. It looks like sesame chicken, possibly. I don't believe I got sesame chicken, a strain of weed. However, dabs again. I got Moonwalker dabs. Can't believe the Barbie movie would be. Well, here's I think I'm the target audience for that. I might have been. I was really hungry. DJ Dub, I was. Okay, so Puzzle Bitch took me to the, affectionately known as Puzzle Bitch here on the show, took me to the dispensary. And when we got out of the dispensary, like, I was starving. I was really hoping that, because I'd proposed that we'd go to the grocery store and then I'd cook, because he loves me cooking for him. But like, I was starving, so I was hoping he would change his mind. I was like, because I was down for whatever. It was like, we can go to a restaurant, blah blah blah. We can go to the grocery store, whatever you want to do. And they were like, well, what's around here? And I'm like, oh, well, there's this place called the Burger Bar, and everybody raves about it. I've always wanted to go to it. Apparently Hank Williams had his last meal at the Burger Bar. He had a heart attack in his Cadillac as he was leaving. So finally got to go to the Burger Bar, and the Burger Bar was excellent. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. They had Parmesan fries. They were fantastic. I got a chili cheeseburger with fucking caramelized onions on it. Oh my God. I've been raving about that burger place. I told Sparkles all about it. And then I was bitching because they always have food trucks over here, but they're never like open. It's like they're just storing the food trucks in this parking lot. Well, I walked to the dollar store the other day and the food truck was open. And I'm like, oh my God. And I had cash left over from when I went to the dispensary. I had a 10 in my wallet. And I'm like, I'm going to stop this fucking food truck. And I got buffalo chicken queso fries. Holy shit, were the buffalo chicken queso fries amazing. That was like the food truck specialty was their barbecue sauces and their hot sauce and shit. You get wings, you can get like a bowl with rice and your meat with the sauce on it. Or they had like sides, they had like queso fries. I don't want the queso fries. Yes, Barbie Oppenheimer back to back. It's gonna be like those two movies are gonna be 1 and 2, right? Like they premiere the same weekend. I think it's next weekend. Also, hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you should probably cancel your streaming services. Cancel your streaming services. You know, we're already not really gonna have shit to watch come the fall. Movies and TV shows. We're gonna run out of them. We're gonna have to start recycling movies like Sound of Freedom. But I have a feeling if everybody was to cancel their streaming service in a show of solidarity with the writers and actors guilds, I have a feeling that the strike will come to an end a lot faster. Clinically, here's the thing. I swore on HBO. I had HBO streaming the entire time. I fucking loves HBO. But, like, they added commercials. I'm like, I'm just going to go to Pirate Bay now. Fuck you and your commercials. And I was trying to watch The Righteous Gemstones the other day. It was all fucking commercials. Fuck it. Fuck it. Sound of Freedom dropped to number 4. That sounds... So, what they did... And I didn't go... Oh, guys. An update on Sound of Freedom. Apparently, that dude... The organization is called R. I don't remember what that stands for. OURR. But apparently that dude has been kicked out of the organization for unknown reasons. Like, he doesn't even work for the organization he founded anymore. There's some shady shit going on there. So yeah, the reason why Sound of Freedom was like number 1 at the box office is because it debuted on a weekend that no other movies were debuting. And then they did that pay it forward thing where they're like, if you think you were fighting child sex trafficking by watching this movie, buy a ticket for somebody else. Our Underground Railroad. Something, Operation Underground Railroad. Thank you, Breadline. Also, good evening. I love your face. So glad to see you. Oh yeah, that's it. I stole that from Dan Simpson, the I love your face thing. I apologize to Dan for that, but then we had a falling out, so maybe I'll steal it. It's mine now. Fuck you, Dan. I have finally beaten Final Fantasy 16. Cried my eyes out. It was fantastic. Oh, you know that, Flash. You know there were like groups that were buying tickets to it. They're writing it off as like a charity fucking expense. Inflating the numbers. Joey, you had a falling out with Dan? Apparently he's really sensitive. I got no problem with Dan. Dan has a lot of problems with me. Libertad, I did not get a dab rig. No, I did not get a dab rig yet. I'm sorry. I thought about it. They did not have dab rigs at the dispensary. So I thought about telling Puzzle Bitch to go to the head shop over here, and I was gonna get one, but I did not. I'm not smoking dabs anyway. I'm smoking the leafy green right now. Frosted burgers. Smoking frosted burgers. But you know what we're gonna do? We gonna find out what that news be doing. Does it come to listen to me ramble about my frosted burgers? You would think we're gonna start off tonight with 2024 presidential campaign news. Get you an update on what is going on with the presidential campaign contenders. How do I smoke the dabs? I smoke like you would DMT. I'll get my bowl as clean as I can, my glass bowl out of my bong, and then I'll put some ash down on the bottom of the screen. I've got a pipe over here that's got some dabs in it. So I'm smoking dabs when I beat Final Fantasy. That's what I got the dabs for, mainly. For when I went and fought Ultima at the end of Final Fantasy. And one of the last lines before you beat the big baddie. Ultima says something to the effect of being able to beat me is just a fantasy or some shit like that. And then Clive is like, the only fantasy here is yours, and I'll see to it that it's your final one. And they're like, aha, he said the line. Yeah, so I'll smoke the dabs just because I want to get the taste and figure out. But usually I do just sprinkle them on top of a bowl, smoke them that way. But when I first get them, I want to get what they taste like. So, I might have to decide to support somebody different in this presidential election. Because if you've got campaign staffers out here telling people to eat your balls, I might be on your side.
Get off my fucking lawn, then I'd be like, yo, eat my balls, honestly. Eat my big, hairy sack.
You calling a boy a sack?
That shit, and I'm a little stoned, so I don't even care. They're like, fuck you, get off my fucking lawn, then I'd be like, yo, eat my balls, honestly.
So this is a Ron DeSantis campaign staffer reportedly caught on camera saying he will tell voters to eat his balls. Fuzzy Simba, good evening. Now around here, we really enjoy kicking authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
I guess you could say the kid was doing that. I would assume now that the DeSantis campaign is cutting staffers, he'd be one of the first ones to go. He's probably volunteer. But it appears the Ron DeSantis campaign is in crisis.
Well, new tonight, Governor Ron DeSantis is cutting campaign staff as he struggles to catch former President Donald Trump in the GOP's crowded primary contest while facing unexpected financial pressure. According to a DeSantis aide, the Republican presidential contender has let go fewer than 10 paid staffers late last week to help reduce operating expenses. The staffers were involved in event planning and are soon expected to join a pro-DeSantis super PAC.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you that means the campaign is in serious trouble. If they are cutting staffers, we're still 6 months out from Iowa, and they are cutting staffers. He isn't even going to make it to the first vote being cast. Oh my God. Holy shit. And the bad press just continues to come for Ron DeSantis, who is sinking quickly. Ron DeSantis' Florida State Guard is being trained as a militia. Veterans say they quit Ron DeSantis' State Guard because training became too militaristic. One recruit accused the Guard of becoming a militia. Democrats have previously questioned the Florida governor's motives for the organization. Veterans who were part of Ron DeSantis' new State Guard said they quit the program when training became too militaristic. DeSantis reestablished the Florida State Guard in June of 2022, promoting it as a civilian disaster relief force in a natural disaster-prone state. However, volunteers say when they showed up at camp, they were trained for combat. Brian Newhouse, a 20-year retired Navy veteran who was chosen as a lead for one of the Guard's divisions, accused the program of being hijacked and turned into a militia. He told the news outlet he was escorted off the base on the first day of training after raising complaints. Two other veterans, who asked not to be named in the report, said they quit after having similar concerns the organization was deviating from its earlier mission. Florida State Guard was originally created in 1941 to support the Florida National Guard during World War II, but the unit was disbanded in 1947. Unlike the National Guard, which takes orders from the federal government, the State Guard is under the direct control of the governor. The budget for the State Guard has spiraled to $89 million. Well, good thing he's fucking sinking fast. A wild turn of events. This also a wild turn of events. You remember the QAnon shaman? The QAnon shaman and other Capitol rioters apparently now regret pleading guilty. So what has happened is they've pled guilty. They have served their time. They've gotten out, gotten back into the right-wing ecosystem, and now they regret pleading guilty. Growing number of Capitol rioters have gone back on their guilty pleas and apologies, including one of the most recognizable faces from January 6th. Standing in court, Jacob Angeli Chansley, known as Jake Angeli, seemed like a changed man. Shorn of the horned headdress, furs, and face paint that helped him earn the nickname the QAnon Shaman, he was pleading guilty to obstructing an official proceeding. I am truly, truly repentant for my actions, because repentance is not just saying you're sorry. Repentance is apologizing and then moving in the exact opposite direction of the sin that you committed. In retrospect, I would do everything differently on January 6th. A judge called his apology the most remarkable I've heard in 34 years and sentenced him to only 41 months in prison, considerably less than the maximum allowed. Now, more than a year and a half later, Angeli is out of jail early and his remorse is gone. Regrets only weigh down the mind, he told the BBC. They're like sandbags on a hot air balloon. His about face is such that he is even taking his case back to court to ask his guilty plea to be reversed, and he is far from alone in changing his mind about the events at the Capitol. Since the 6th of January 2021, over 1,000 people have been charged over their participation in the riots, and almost half have pleaded guilty. But chatter on online forums and media coverage shows a small but growing number have started to have a change of heart. Emboldened by shifting views of the riot, some have sought to recast their actions and even benefit from their notoriety. Facing 30 days in prison and 3 years of probation, Antinosius Zogonalis pleaded guilty last year to illegally demonstrating in the Capitol, but like Angeli, he has since changed his mind. He told a reporter that this month he didn't do anything wrong and he had been persuaded into an admission. His lawyer has since asked to delay sentencing. I would say their lawyers are kicking themselves right now. I had to guess. Maria Bartiromo, this is not the first time we're going to hear from her tonight on this show. She confronted two major Republicans. Apparently sobered up and decided to do some journalism. Maria Bartiromo confronting Donald Trump, saying that he didn't drain the swamp.
The mistake would be people. I mean, I wouldn't have put a guy like Bill Barr in. He was weak and pathetic. I wouldn't have put Jeff Sessions in. There are some people
pathetic.
I wouldn't have put in. You know, most people were good. But I had some people, we had Esper. I didn't like him. He was incompetent, I thought. We had other people I didn't like.
Why did you put them in the job then?
Because every president, you put somebody in, you think they're good. But one thing that has happened, and I find it very interesting, and this is the way life goes, I put people in. I was there 17 times in Washington, D.C. in my whole life. Okay? I never stayed overnight. The press actually reported 17. I don't know if it's right, but it's probably pretty right. I never stayed overnight, ever. And then all of a sudden, I'm the president of the United States. And it's like a different society. I was New York, and, you know, it was a different thing. So I didn't know people. I became president. I'm riding down Pennsylvania Avenue with our first lady. I had 250 motorcycles. I had armies. I had everything. I said, do you believe it? We're president. Take a look. This is wild, right? But I never was involved in that. And
It is wild.
no, I didn't know the people. I know the people now better than anybody's ever known the people. I know the good ones, the bad ones, the dumb ones, the smart ones.
Well, you didn't drain the swamp like you said you would. You didn't drain the swamp.
I did. I fired Comey. I fired a lot of people. A lot of the people I fired. I fired Comey very early. And, you know, there was a question as to whether or not you could. But I fired Comey. If I didn't fire Comey, I don't think I would have been able to serve out my term, because that was a plot. And, you know, these other guys that are running, they think, oh, well, you know, they're going to go nice and smooth. No, they'll create phony stories on them. They'll create their own Russia. These people are sick. Guys like Adam Schiff, he's a sick person. I mean, he's really a sick. They make things up, and then you have to spend time getting out of it. They do it now.
Donald Trump accused other people of making shit up.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Apparently, had some weird comments about Putin during the TPUSA conference. People speculated he didn't even seem coherent in his speech.
China's not a problem. If you have the right leadership, Russia's not a problem. They would have never done what they did. Believe me, they would have never done. And I spoke to Vladimir. Did you see the other day, 2 days ago, he called? He's talking to the...
Yeah, they mocked Biden for the way he said Vladimir the other day and called him Vladimir. Fucking Trump sounds like he's drunk or something here.
And I spoke to Vladimir. Did you see the other day, 2 days ago, he called? He's talking to the president of Ukraine, and he said, Vladimir. He meant Zelensky. Vladimir over here. Oh, I mean, That was one of the... China's not a problem.
He just mocked Biden for getting a name wrong while he got the same name wrong.
Come on, man.
But if he got into office for another term, which is Maria Bartiromo again, Voldemort. If he got into office for another term, it would be astonishing.
Right now with reaction is former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. He is also the author of the new book, March to the Majority, which is
Zelensky's name is Vlad. It's a VLOD. It's a very subtle difference. When we played the clip of Joe Biden, I'm like, anybody could get that. I mean, that's easy mistake to make.
Available everywhere right now. Newt, great.
It's a book plug. Oh, is it OLOD? I know it's just slightly different. It's a book. It's always a fucking book plug. And Joe Gaylord helping Newt Gingrich out.
To see you. Did President Trump make his case?
Yeah, I think more than anybody I can imagine. He's knowledgeable. It's things he actually did. He's not talking from note cards. And the big difference is, in 2017, he was a businessman under tremendous assault from the FBI and the New York Times and the
He called Trump knowledgeable. He called Trump knowledgeable. Rush, what do you think about it?
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
the Washington Post, learning the trade. Now, he's had enough time to think it through. I think his first year will be astonishing, and I think people will be amazed how much he can get done.
Lord of the Gays.
Assemble. And frankly, barring some enormous change, he is the most likely person to be the next president of the United States, something only Grover Cleveland ever achieved, being president, losing and coming back. But right now the numbers are so overwhelming, Republicans ought to start focusing on how to beat Biden, because I think at a practical level, they have a nominee, and his name is Donald Trump.
Newt, great to see you. Thanks so much, Newt.
Ew. He's like a turd in Trump's. Yeah, I fucked that analogy up. Never mind me. Nix, good evening. Surely we're not going to live through yet another Trump administration. Surely. Incredibly incompetent. A massive crowd at a Trump event leads to entry delays. They had to chant, "Let us in!" Many complained about waiting for hours to enter the Palm Beach County Convention Center in West Palm Beach for the TPUSA conference on Saturday. A Turning Point USA spokesperson told Newsweek on Sunday that to their knowledge, everyone was eventually able to enter and see the speech. Among the list of confirmed speakers, other than the former president, included far-right favorites Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, and Lauren Boebert. The crowd was very restless. It's a bunch of like middle-aged ladies. What the? I wasn't expecting the crowd to be made up of a bunch of Karens. Acting Karen-y. They're upset with Charlie Kirk.
Send Charlie out here. Send Charlie out here. They were well trained, well equipped. Send Charlie out here now. They told us to come over here to get him.
Ma'am, why are you asking to send Charlie out there? Do you
You live in sexual anarchy?
Tones, good evening.
Yeah, we want Charlie Kirk to come out here and tell us that after standing online for 4 hours in a 115-degree sweltering garage, to be told when we finally get to the front that we can't come in. We can't see, there's a wall up, and we can't come in.
We hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
All over the country, and they won't let us in.
Do they say why?
No.
But this is outrageous. I just spent $1,000 on my airline ticket to fly here from New York City.
They claim there's no more seats.
I'm staying in a hotel, and I can't get in. I waited 4 hours. My friend has my seat in there because I had to come out here for a second. There's a seat in there waiting for me.
Oh, this is the TPUSA event. They are waiting to see Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, Lauren Boebert.
I think somebody, I've been begging the security to tell Charlie Kirk that there's a problem, and Charlie Kirk needs to come out here and address the hundreds of us who can't get in.
This is not how you treat your supporters.
That's right.
First, the big tech billionaires seeking to censor us for using their vast wealth to tip the scales.
They suck. I love it. I love it. That is fantastic, and I love that they're pissed at Charlie Kirk specifically. Fuck you, Charlie. Sticks. A fake photo of Trump with MLK Jr. has been rebuked by the civil rights leader's daughter. Bernice King, the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., rebuked the use of a fake image of her father standing alongside former President Donald Trump on Saturday evening. Conservative commentator Brigitte Gabriel tweeted a fake photograph showing King Jr. and Trump walking side by side, captioned, "Two of our nation's greatest advocates for civil rights, MLK and DJT." Photograph drew condemnation from Bernice King, who has previously spoken out against conservatives attempting to tie her father to their ideology. Republicans have claimed King Jr. would have been a Trump supporter despite a lack of evidence tying him to conservative politics. King Jr.'s children have condemned efforts to tie their father to the modern Republican Party since King Jr. expressed support for some left-leaning policy ideas during his lifetime, including voicing critiques about capitalism, a key tenet of the GOP. Get him, Bernice. Do we have it? Can we show the image? Look at that bullshit. Like, she's focused on anti-bullying and shit. You gotta make her step up, be like, don't use my father's image in your stupid picture. Back to the browser doing. The TP USA Action Conference also hosted a representative from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Lyndon B. Johnson is very similar to Joe.
We getting a history lesson from Marjorie Taylor Greene. This should be good.
Lyndon B. Johnson is very similar to Joe Biden. How are they the same? They're both Democrat socialists. Lyndon B. Johnson was the majority leader in the Senate. Does that sound familiar? He was vice president to Kennedy. Joe was vice president to Obama. He was appointed as the president after JFK was assassinated, then he was elected. His big socialist programs were the Great Society. The Great Society were big government programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation.
Is it still a problem now?
Food stamps and welfare. The
Come
Office
on,
of
man.
Economic Opportunity and big labor and labor unions. Now, LBJ had the Great Society, but Joe Biden had Build Back Better, and he still is working on it. the largest public investment in social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on, and Joe Biden is attempting to complete: socialism. Meanwhile, we are now $32 trillion in debt. With record high homelessness, 40-year record inflation, we're losing the U.S. dollar as the #1 world currency. We're losing our freedoms. Our government is one big, fat, bloated machine, and it's killing the American dream. Our jobs are centered.
Yeah, you could take everything up until, you know, she started talking about inflation and the debt, which Joe Biden has cut. You could take all of that and you could put it in a campaign ad for Biden. LBJ and FDR were two incredibly popular presidents.
Come on, man.
And since she brought up LBJ, I would like to remind everyone that LBJ used his gigantic cock as like an intimidation tool during negotiations. That he would take people to the fucking bathroom and he would stand at the urinal and purposely turn around and show world leaders his gigantic cock. He would take them out on his boat and he would go take a piss off of the side of the boat and turn around and show everyone his gigantic cock. These are real stories I'm telling you about LBJ. Oh. He is because he is on tape telling a seamstress, whoever's working on his fucking pants, to make sure to leave him enough room between his taint and his bunghole. His gigantic fucking cock. Interesting facts about presidents. Marjorie Taylor Greene is still my pick to be Donald Trump's running mate. I got something for you. Are you ready for the new hit song by for Gigio Blow called MTG?
The Democrats are a party of pedophiles.
They support grooming children. Even Joe Biden, the president himself, supports children being sexualized and having transgender surgeries. Sexualizing children is what pedophiles do to children.
MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. MTG, Mega's MVP. Democrats get back. Boom. Reporters even get slapped. They spreading all these rumors cause Marjorie be spitting big facts. Deep state in the left always hating. When they gonna let Joe about that basement? Marjorie, I really love what you do. Keep calling rhinos out. No one does it better than you, huh? A real business
for Gigio Blow.
watch her shake and bake. Divorce, that's all y'all got to bring up. Yeah, watch her drain the swamp, cause she know they corrupt.
Thank you, clinically.
Children, she's fighting for our freedom. She's fighting for the Jan 6, she's fighting good versus evil. MTG, MAGA's MVP. MTG, MAGA's MVP. MTG, MAGA's MVP. MTG, MAGA's MVP. She's a boss. She don't rock with trends. Them liberal tears can't save you, wipe them off. You know we reppin' 45, he never lost. Watch a real Georgia peach go and set it off.
But I think what upsets me the most, Vinny, is the fact that everyone
I kind of like it.
has known about the Biden crimes for a very long time, and they've done nothing about it. But yet regular Americans, they go to jail if they don't pay their taxes. They go to jail if they walk in the Capitol escorted by Capitol Police.
This is only 1 minute and 49 seconds long. It feels like it's been playing for 4 or 5 minutes. And I was kind of into it. And it felt like it took forever, and I'm stoned. Cringe ass lyrics indeed. They definitely like, you ain't no run the jewels, motherfucker. So everybody give a thumbs down to MTG. New song by Fragilio Blow. Amazingly enough, MTG doesn't like RFK. Really surprised by that. She was one of the big gets for Right Side Broadcasting over the weekend.
You don't want to hear from me anymore. We have
I don't know
Marjorie
about
Taylor
that.
Greene.
I don't think anybody wants to hear from me as well.
No.
As we are joined by Congresswoman from Georgia, 14th District, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Now, somebody speculated
People behind you, the fans.
that these two have been fucking.
Right now, we have a lot to cover because we've talked about a lot of stuff that you just.
You live in
I
sexual
don't know
anarchy.
That's true. That is strictly a rumor.
Ukraine. We'll go over the NDAA, but let's first talk about Turning Point USA and like what does it mean to you to be here and how important this organization is to our youth.
Oh, Brian, I'm so glad to be here.
Whoa, clinically.
Because we just recently did a study on the amount of people who do not vote. And listen, if you're watching at home, I really want to.
There was one today.
It is for you to vote. In my district alone, I'll give you a little story. In my district alone, we discovered that approximately almost 70% of registered voters have not voted in many of the elections in the past. Well, let me.
Since clinically brings it up. Content warning. It was just another day in mass shooting USA in the Congresswoman's state, in the state of Georgia.
The monster's dead. By utilizing collective investigative measures, we were able to track this suspect over to 138 in Mount Zion Parkway. We engaged the suspect. Suspect returned fire and hit the ground running. We gave chase, re-engaged the suspect. He produced a handgun again, shots and fired. Well, gunfire was exchanged. The suspect was neutralized. The citizens of Hampton, the county of Henry, Metro Atlanta area, and the entire state of Georgia can breathe a little easy tonight that the suspect is off the street. We have a couple of officers that are injured. The most severe has been life flighted to Grady. He was hit in the rear of his back. He is conscious, breathing, and talking at this time frame.
He was hit in his asshole. He got shot in his asshole. So when they took him to the hospital, they washed his ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth or across the asshole. Wash your ass.
At this point, we don't want to say anything else.
Something's wrong with me.
Has been notified, but we want to sort of keep that close to the vest right now until we find out exactly what is going on with the officer progressing.
4 people dead in Georgia. The suspect, not one, like he killed 4 people, and then there was a manhunt. Now he is dead. No other injuries reported, I don't think.
Let me tell you what that means for Georgia. We have 2 Democrat senators in Georgia now that we should not have. And in my opinion, we wouldn't have those 2 Democrat senators representing Georgia if people had turned out to vote. You can overcome election fraud. You can overcome many things when people show up to vote. Republicans have to vote. And so here for Turning Point, this is the place that it's letting all young people know how important their job is in the future, and voting is.
Guys, you saw the video, the people waiting in line to get into the venue. Did that look like young people to you? I can't do math very well.
You take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
I don't think they were very young.
It's one of the best things they can do, voting Republican, especially, and voting for president.
Yeah, I pointed this out to one of the girls at the Turning Point USA table that's just right down there. I said, look, I love getting people all excited about what we stand for. I love getting people registered to vote. But truth be told, that if they don't show up on election day, then nothing happens. So you still get the Democratic policies that these people put forward. So we got to get out and vote for that. Okay.
I think they make a absolutely cute couple.
I tried to explain it earlier. I tried to really kind of break it down, what was good about it, what is still need to be improved on it. And let's kind of recap that. It's been a very active, I mean, it was 16 hours the other day voting on this thing.
This has been a very busy week. So I just flew in to Florida.
Boy, are her arms tired.
Congress has been working on the National Defense Authorization Act, and this is a bill that we do one time per year. It's a budget bill, and what it does is it funds the Department of Defense. This is an incredibly important funding bill. It's one of the most important funding bills that we do as members of Congress. Well, our Department of Defense funds and controls our military. And I'd like to explain a very important part about the Department of Defense. Let's talk about the mission statement. The mission statement on the website for the Department of Defense says its mission is 2 things: to deter war and to protect our nation's national security interest. Well, let me explain something, Brian. My big problem this entire week with our National Defense Authorization Act was the fact that it had funding for Ukraine in it. Now, I cannot comprehend.
You're speculating on their genitalia.
Our funding bill for the Department of Defense for the United States of America has
You live
money
in sexual
funding a
anarchy?
war in Ukraine, a country that most people can't find on a map.
True.
We care about our.
I can find it.
I'm sick and tired of 300 Americans dying every single day from fentanyl. If any country is held accountable, it should be Mexico, and it should be the cartels in Mexico.
I just had a right-winger say fentanyl to me in a message.
We're not going to pay for people to travel over state lines or wherever they need to go to have an abortion. Was that or was that not taken out of the NDAA?
I've got great news. So let's walk through it. First of all, let me tell everyone at home, the NDAA under our Republican-controlled Congress is a great bill in many, many ways. It gives a pay increase to military members they haven't had in 30 years. It takes care of their health care. It helps rebuild our military that has been depleted, especially over the past 2.5 years from
I hope you get a dose of fentanyl in your daily commute. To which I laughed at it. I got that at 8:34.
Any type of aggression from China. So that's extremely.
They all just say the same thing.
It did not have the Hyde Amendment. And the Hyde Amendment is extremely important, of course, for conservative Americans, but I think it's important for the military as a whole. So we had a huge amendment process this past week. We passed the amendment to put the Hyde Amendment back in. The Hyde Amendment blocks any federal funding to go towards abortion, and that includes abortion vacations. This is where women in the military, they would have it paid for them to travel to another state to have an abortion.
And we're going to hear about this topic a little later on when we talk about Tom Cotton.
We should be supporting women in the military being moms. not having abortions. Other things that we were able to do is we were able to stop the transgender surgeries in the military. Everybody watching at home, everyone here knows that there should be no transgender surgeries, no hormone treatments. That kind of garbage does
That
not
is healthcare. That is
Our
healthcare
military
for
is the
people.
defense of the United States of America, not a place to have transgender surgeries.
Okay, next topic. We talked about this with Steve Bannon earlier, and I encourage people to go back and watch that conversation. We talked about how
I'd rather not.
how significant it is that Joe Biden has literally called up 3,000 reservists and have them kind of on standby for any type of deployment to Europe, to the Ukrainian border. I think this is a precursor.
It is 2 NATO countries.
But I wanted to get your take on that as well.
Well, I'm very concerned about it, Brian. I'll be very honest with you. The action that he took by calling up 3,000 military reservists and sending them over to Europe in an operation that he's talking about. This operation is really an unofficial operation for Ukraine. And calling up reserves and sending them there, I'll tell you what it reminds me of.
Not that I am pro-military action in any
history
way.
will know this. It reminds me of how we started in the Vietnam War, and that has many people terrified. And you know, my dad was a combat veteran in the Navy during the Vietnam War. We have many wonderful veterans in our country from that generation that served in the Vietnam War, but the Vietnam War was one of those foreign wars that America should have never been engaged in, and we lost thousands and thousands of our great American soldiers in that war.
Yeah.
And to this day, we have thousands and thousands of Americans that suffer today as veterans from that war.
Yeah, so this is something, and we've talked about this almost ad nauseum, that the obsession with supporting Ukraine has come to, has no ends, you know, despite the inflation that we have and the deficit that we're in, but we still want to print money and send it to Ukraine. And I think, and I said this, and I'm going to get your take on this. If I had 100 people lined up and I said, give me the top 5 concerns in your life, just give me 5. Just give me 3, whatever. Ukraine's not on the list.
Ukraine is not on the list.
Ukraine's not paying their bills, not paying their mortgage or filling up their car.
Okay, so let's recall a few weeks back when we were in South Carolina.
I don't even remember why I want to watch this again.
You might have been at this rally, the Trump rally in South Carolina.
Sure.
Oh, she's supposed to talk about RFK.
I've never been to, and that rally in South Carolina scared the hell out of Washington, D.C. And
I can't take it anymore. There's so much more of this. I can't do it. This was supposed to be my lead in to the RFK. Marjorie Taylor Greene says RFK Jr. has fooled Republicans with his anti-vax beliefs. His policies are far, far left. I can't take it. I can't get to her saying that. Because I was strictly doing it to set up the joke, like, despite RFK's anti-Semitism, Marjorie Taylor Greene still doesn't like him. Motherfucker out here with, like, trying to one-up MTG with conspiracies about Jewish people.
And we need to talk about bioweapons. The level, I know a lot now about bioweapons because I've been doing a book on it for the past 2.5 years, and you know, the technology that we now have to develop these microbes, we've put hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there's an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are because of the structure of the genetic structure of genetic differentials among different races.
Just so everyone knows, COVID-19 affects races differently based on socioeconomic status, meaning it's things like access to health care or fact that black workers are more likely to be service industry workers that are facing the public, or working in a factory where they're crowded together with little ventilation, shit like that. There's always an underlying data point. He's an idiot.
Of the receptors, of the ACE2 receptor, COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. But we don't know whether it was deliberately targeted that or not. But there are papers out there that show the racial and ethnic differential impact to that. We do know that the Chinese are spending hundreds of millions of dollars.
Asian countries took precautions.
Developing ethnic bioweapons. That's what all those labs in the Ukraine are about. They're collecting Russian DNA. They're collecting Chinese DNA so that we can target people by race.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Motherfucker out here smoking crack.
I was on crack.
Right. Well,
Mike Lindell gonna show up on his campaign. You want to keep with the racism? Let's keep the racism flowing on the show here tonight. I'm going to take you to the House floor. I believe this was on Friday. This is Representative Eli Crane.
Mr. Chairman, though, that was unbelievably inspiring. My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve, okay? It has nothing to do with color of your skin, any of that stuff. What we want to preserve and maintain is the fact that our military does not become a social experiment. We want the best of the best. We want to have standards to guide who's in what unit, what they do. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, they are not doing this because they want the strongest military possible. I hope my colleagues on the other side can understand what we're doing. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, asking to be recognized to have the words colored people.
For what purposes, gentlelady, seek recognition?
I'd like to be recognized to have the words colored people stricken from the record. I find it offensive and very inappropriate.
Is the gentlelady asking for unanimous consent to take down the words?
I am asking for unanimous consent to take down the words of referring to me or any of my colleagues as colored people.
He's over there sitting on the other side of the Congress be like, you colored in? You got color? I'm white. What's the big deal? He's from Arizona, the representative from Arizona, Eli Crane. Colored people in 2023. The People's House. They are all up in arms about the military being woke. News host confronts GOP senator on his opposition to military abortions. Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas was confronted on Fox News Sunday over his opposition to military abortions. You believe?
Again, the military should not be paying for abortion tourism.
So what should women who are in uniform in a place where they cannot access abortion because they are there on orders, what should they do?
Well, if they want to take that step, they have 30 days of annual leave. It shouldn't be taxpayer funds giving them 3 weeks of paid, uncharged leave, and then also paying for travel and lodging and meals, something that we don't even give our troops when they have a parent die or a sibling die or a beloved grandparent die.
How does...
Again,
the obvious thing here is that, you know, if a woman has a miscarriage, the procedure to remove the fetus is an abortion. Someone has a baby with some sort of defect, like the case we saw in Florida, where the baby had no kidneys and was forced to give birth and hold it as it lived its little life in agony. You're a monster. Cosmic Fox, good evening. I was just pointing out how much of a monster Senator Tom Cotton is for blocking women in uniform from having access to abortions. You came just in time to have... I'm sorry, I don't want to have to do this. You want to hear what some of the worst people in the world have to say about trans issues? Joe Exotic wades in on the Bud Light fallout and shared a mocked-up Budweiser can. The incarcerated Tiger King star. That's fucking tomorrow's freaking news. It's about Donald Trump calling the United States being run by perverts and thugs. Lack of self-awareness. Incarcerated Tiger King star Joe Exotic has waded into the ongoing Bud Light fallout with a pitch to Budweiser featuring a mocked-up image of a beer can and a message about the attraction of the world's favorite transphobic gay redneck. Why would you be you can't tell me. This motherfucker watches trans porn. This is his mock-up beer can. Joe Exotic on it. At least they come right out and they call themselves transphobic. They let you know who they are. Straight out the gate. O.J. Simpson also has thoughts on transgender athletes.
Well, it's me, yours truly. Well, there's a subject that I've tried to stay out of, but here lately it's hard to avoid. I saw Megan Rapinoe said that she would love to be competing against transgender women, and look, I'm all for it. I think, yeah, you be whatever you want to be. To me, it doesn't really matter. I remember years ago when I was a tennis player and I saw Dr. Renee Richards compete. Here was a person in their 40s that transgen, and the courts ruled that she could compete. And hey, she was pretty good. She didn't win any major tournaments. I think she got to a finals of a doubles once, and I think she got to the third round of a singles. But let's face the fact, even though she was in her 40s and never a great tennis player, being a biological male, she was able to do pretty well against the women back then. I see the girl in Connecticut is suing the state, the track girl, because never was able to get a gold medal in her junior and senior year because she was competing against guys who identified as female. I mean, they went through no medical or any change, but they just said they identified and they beat her. My thing is, why don't they treat it, especially in track and field, why don't you treat it like the marathon? Let everybody compete, but when it's over, have a category for female, a category for male, and a category for transgenders. Senator and...
Because trans women are women. Reason why you have a disdain for trans women is because you have a disdain for women. Because you're a wife beater. You're a wife murderer. Apparently he murdered some other dudes just for good measure. He's proposing separate but equal. Indeed. They don't even realize it. You know Barbie's woke. Barbie film forgets its core audience. I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
Tudor Dixon is host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. And
Tudor Dixon
is the Federalist senior contributor and author of Domestic Extremists. I'm going to start with you, Peachy, because you wrote a great article about this in Revolver. And you say that this movie is the
One's name is Peachy Keen. The other's is Tudor Dixon.
slickest, most visually appealing, and therefore most insidious packaging of feminist cliches and trans grooming that you have ever seen. Tell us more.
Trans grooming!
I have two daughters. I have a 7-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they've been talking about going to see Barbie for weeks now. They've seen the posters. They saw a trailer before the Spider-Man movie, and I didn't even know it wasn't like PG, but apparently it's PG-13. It's full of suggestive humor, and I found out last week they somehow didn't let it.
That's what I thought. The whole time I've kind of thought it was for like us, like we're the target audience for the Barbie. It's meant to be like a meme movie and shit. And it's targeted at older audiences. That's what I know they kicked Amy Schumer off of it because they didn't want it to be like R-rated, I guess.
Let anyone know this with the marketing campaign that one of Barbie's main 3 sidekicks is, surprise, surprise, a man. I mean, is nothing sacred? There aren't a lot of movies that appeal to little girls, and this was one of them, but now it's off the list, and I don't really know what they were thinking. They just gave Barbie the Bud Light treatment, which probably looks pretty stupid in retrospect.
Yeah, I mean, Tudor, it just, I can't, I don't get it. I
Tudor!
mean, I have more Barbies than I can count in my house because of all my girls. Why won't they let our little girls have anything? It's not even profitable. I mean, Disney lost $900 million on the last 3 woke children's films they put out.
You know, the only thing I will say about this, obviously I haven't seen the movie, it's not out yet, but in the preview we see the one character come out and she's holding the high heel and she's holding the Birkenstock and she says, you have to make a choice. You can live in this pink utopia or you have to go to the real world. And I thought it was funny because I'm like, I kind of see like a biblical reference here where the serpent is saying you can either choose to know all, and she ends up not wanting to, but she chooses that. And
it's for the older kids.
See how it plays out, because from the perspective of a mom who has 4 girls and having watched many Barbie shows, I just sort of wonder, when she goes to the real world, is it really ugly? Because there are a lot of things that are really ugly. That
Margot Robbie is awesome.
And I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but it might just show people that it is nice to have a man who dotes on you and you have a career and you raise your sisters and you're a really strong woman. And perhaps the real world where men are not so great is not so great.
Well, I'm Latina, Tudor, and so I always pick the high heel, never the Birkenstock.
Sparkles Lavender is the target audience for that Barbie movie. That her and her sparkly pink Crocs and her rainbow unicorn shirts. She is the target audience. Melanie Cosmic Fox is the target audience for that Barbie movie. It ain't you fucks over there in the Christian right. The audience of Fox News is not the audience for the Barbie movie. But movies in general are coming to a halt thanks to the strike inside Disney's Haunted Mansion red carpet premiere during the SAG-AFTRA strike. Disney didn't let the SAG-AFTRA strike get in the way of its Haunted Mansion world premiere. None of the stars of the movie were expected to be in attendance, including Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, Rosaria Dawson, Chase W. Dillon, Daniel Levy, Jamie Lee Curtis. Damn, what a fucking cast. Hassan Minaj. I don't even know those other two. They're all observing the SAG-AFTRA strike. The studio still rolled out the red carpet at Disneyland in Anaheim on Saturday night. Director Justin Simeon told Variety he was sad his cast couldn't attend, but understands why and supports the actors. We have some video.
To it. How surreal does it feel to be at the world premiere without your fans? It's so surreal. It's so sad and disappointing, but I'm not disappointed in this cast. I'm disappointed in the conditions that have brought about this situation. And I'm really happy I got to wear that cape, by the way, designed by our costume designer, Jeffrey Curlin, who is also a member of SAG, which is why I really felt it was important to show up with that cape. And their work speaks for themselves in this movie, but I wanted to speak for them too today. That Bob Iger obviously has gotten some blowback for his remarks. Yeah. What did you think when you heard him say that? I would really love to sit down with him and talk. What would you say? I don't know if how he meant it is how it felt to me, but I would love to talk to him about it. I feel like, artists...
They may have something in their contract where they can't interfere with...
unreasonable or something like that. Unrealistic. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about unrealistic.
The movies business
is unrealistic. Coming from Houston, Texas, gay, black, that's unrealistic. And what made me believe I could do that in so many things is watching these movies with these beautiful protagonists that had these unrealistic dreams, and to see the journey that it took them to get there. So many artists believe in that dream and contribute to these movies and these products and are here because of these products. I would love to talk to him about, the reality that we all face as artists to make the impossible happen every day. Because I think, that's what Disney's really good at, is making the unrealistic happen. I think that's actually their magic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
The easiest way that you can support the strike is to cancel all your streaming services. If you want to watch something, you should take advantage of less than legal means. Just saying. Yeah, you're doing it for the smaller actors, the smaller writers, people that are making day rate on the shit that you love, and you're sticking it to the studio execs. Studio execs are complete assholes. Last week, a leaked memo said that the studios could outlast the writers because they would be starving and evicted from their homes by the fall. Ron Perlman had a response to them saying that.
One thing before I get off this. The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial, some of it is karma, and some of it is just figuring out who the fuck said that. And we know who said that. And where he fucking lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 fucking million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out.
Peace out.
One thing.
Peace out. Yeah, I love Rob Perlman. You should probably be running a VPN nowadays anyway. Just all the time be running a VPN. You never know who might be on your ass. Yeah, acting like a mob boss over here. Fucking, I love Rob Perlman though. Fucking don't fuck with Hellboy. You don't want Hellboy up on your ass. I'm gonna show you a video. Clever way catch fish, apparently.
He will not eat the bread. He waited for the right moment to catch one of those fish. They come up and nibble on the bread. And he grabs one. I've never been able to get one on film yet. They are right inches below.
Oh, we had a nibble.
Chance! You had one.
Oh, it jumped out of his mouth.
He will not eat the bread. He waited for the right moment to catch one of those fish. They come up and nibble on the bread.
Fish is good. I've
never been able to get one on film yet.
I had salmon for dinner last night.
They are right inches below.
I love fish. What's somebody think of the fish?
Chance! You
Oh, he almost had him. Poor puppy. Almost had it.
He will not eat the bread.
I've still got a piece of fish, but I think I'm gonna make some chicken.
Catch one of those fish.
Got chicken in there.
They come up and nibble on the bread.
Go ahead, light one up, dip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
They are right inches.
We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.